Yep, by Raiden. It's not rubbish. It's not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Come on, get on with it. Yeah, we'll just have 5 credits, because usually when I have lots I get bored before the game's over. This is Raiden on the Atari Jaguar. There's not a lot else I can say about it, other than it is Raiden. So it's like an up-the-screen shooter. I don't know... I'd say lots of wasted space over on the right, but that's what Raiden is like. That's what we expect. It moves up and down and left and right in a competent manner. Scrolling is smooth enough. It's nicely colourful. What's that? Is it anything? Don't know. Gimme that. Want that? I'll have that. Did it do anything useful? Don't know. Whoops, I died, so I won't find out. Whoops. Nearly died again. Gimme. I like shooters. Space shooters, up the screen shooters. Call them what you like. I like them. Look at the cows. They're cute. Whoops. The question I asked myself, and I'm asking you because I don't know the answer, so asking myself is entirely pointless, is this doing anything that the PC Engine can't do? Because the PC Engine is a fantastic console for playing this kind of game. I can't remember if Raiden is on the PC Engine or not. I've got a feeling it is, but I'm not certain. Is this doing anything the PC Engine can't do? I mean, maybe the sprites are a little bit bigger, but I've got a feeling the PC Engine would be throwing them around about 3 times the speed, because it threw sprites around quickly. It wasn't about massive sprites. Oh god. It wasn't about massive sprites. It was about fast sprites. And I guess this is more colourful than that would have done. Yeah, I've got to be... I have very, very mixed feelings about the Jaguar. I mean, it's the underdog. We all know that. It's a flawed thing. It was brought out too quickly. Just, you know, they didn't have time to develop it properly. The chips were sort of... there were problems. And then the developers weren't given the time or the budget or anything. So it kind of had no hope. But I love the underdog. I will support underdog systems quite happily. That's why I like the 32X. To be honest, I think the 32X is a better and more capable system, although actually it might not be more capable. It might just be that it had more capable and competent developers. There was a point I was going to get to and I forgot what it was. Yes, sprite handling. The Jaguar is actually, while it sucks at 3D, to be honest, you know, they tried, they did their best, and it's really not up to it. It's actually really quite good at sprites, you know, be it rotation or scaling or just throwing a lot of sprites around at an acceptable speed. It's, you know, this is no bullet hell, but it's chucking a lot of stuff around, and big stuff. Look at that. It is... The SNES couldn't do this. Okay, the PlayStation couldn't, and it's like... The Jaguar kinda... It's unfair to compare it with the PlayStation, because... Okay, I didn't know it did that. It's not in the same ballpark. It's like, take a SNES and soup it up, give it a better CPU, and you're kind of getting there. And then give it some independent Amiga developers. But as a sprite-based shooter, I think this is perfectly competent. It's one of those, whoops, if you've got a Jaguar and you're wondering what games you should get and you only want to buy ones that aren't rubbish, yep, buy Raiden. It's not rubbish. It's acceptably competent. It's nothing special. It's not doing anything other systems couldn't do. Even the PC Engine could probably do, I don't know if it could do this, but it wouldn't be far off it, and you're talking a generation and a half earlier. Technically speaking, the PC Engine, it's an 8-bit system with a couple of 16-bit graphics processors. But then, I mean, what is the Jaguar? Because it sure as hell ain't 64-bit. What is the CPU in this thing? Is it using a 68000 with a couple of 32-bit graphics processors or something? I don't know. It's got a couple of RISC chips in it, hasn't it, or something? Not sure. It was a bodge, whatever it is. But I have a soft spot for it. I mean, you will. I'm doing a whole bundle of videos, all in a big batch at the moment. It's like I've done Jaguar CD videos. I'm doing Jaguar cartridge-based games now, all over a very small, short time period. And I know I'm coming across as sounding grumpy and like I don't like it. I'm enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying making the videos. I may sometimes sound outraged because the game is so bad, because they are. But that doesn't mean I don't like the Jaguar. I like, some things are so bad that they're good. And that is my view of the Jaguar. It's a novelty. It's a piece of history. It's not a good system by any means. There are some games that are competent, and if you've got a Jaguar, they're games that if you want an adequate, competent game, they're the ones you should have, and this is among those. There are a lot that are diabolical and have no business existing, and I like playing those just for the sake of saying this is diabolical and has no business existing. But of course, if I do a lot of those, it's just going to sound like I'm a grumpy bastard. Oh, balls. Which, yeah, actually it's fair enough. Sometimes I really am a grumpy bastard. But no, while I'm doing these, I'm actually really quite amused. Even the ones where I go on a major rant at them, like Dragon's Lair. Jesus Christ, that's bad. Yeah, I've got no idea how to get by all of those things without dying. Oh dear. What's that? I'm going to chuck that out, balls. I forget I've got the big bomb. Let's chuck another one. Oh God, there's too many of those things. Continue. No, I don't think I will. It's not a bad game. I'm not a fan of Raiden. I think it's probably quite highly regarded. But it's like when you've got Radiant Silvergun, why would you play Raiden? It's a little bit vanilla, shall we say? But you know, it's as good as you're going to get on the Jaguar in terms of like an up-the-screen shooter with lots of that kind of game. Is it a wave shooter? Is that what they call it? Yeah, something like that. It's all right. It's competently done. It's as good as you could expect, and I'm glad that it exists on this system. I'll shut up now. Thank you for watching. Hello. Today's question for Q&A is from Paul Poozy 43. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Link to their channel down there. They say, for Q&A, Steve, being an older gamer, 52 years young, I'm 53 now, how long do you see yourself playing games? I often think about this. I find the newer systems and games are so involved, I struggle. That is why I prefer the older stuff, which is easier on the brain. I do know exactly what you're talking about. I expect and hope I will continue to play games until I drop down dead. What those games will be like, I don't know. Like yourself, I'm finding modern games, they are so involved that it gets confusing. There are, I mean, Cyberpunk 20 whatever it is the best example of a modern game that I play, and I'm like, what the hell? It's not just not able to follow the plot, it's not able to follow the requirements of the menu system and the user interface. It's like, are you meant to be psychic? How on earth are you meant to know what any of that stuff does? Because it's not obvious, and there aren't any instructions that come to hand easily. I think if you've got to watch a tutorial to understand how to play the game that you've just bought, there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with the game design. Now, I got into the game eventually, and the way I managed to do that was to ignore all the fancy stuff, because it just didn't seem to matter whether you bothered with any of it. The fancy options and things that you could do, and I was like, no, sod that, I'll just go around and shoot everyone. Sod all the other abilities and stuff. Upgrades and crafting and stuff, like, I just don't care. And I'm like that with a lot of games. I don't care about crafting. I love Minecraft, but I don't care about crafting. I'll dig a hole and build a wall and you know, put some windows in, and really that's about it. I don't care about any of the fancy stuff. And I'm finding even with racing games now, and things like what's it? Cars? Is it called Cars? And some of the motorcycle games, I can't remember. Some games seem to force a storyline on you, and I don't get it. It's a bloody racing game. Just let me get in my car, go around, race the people, and either win or not win, earn money or points or whatever it is, so that at some point I can upgrade. You know, I get that there needs to be, you've got to achieve a certain amount before you can progress. That's what video games is all about. But when they try and cram in some kind of artificial nonsense that overcomplicates it and just leaves you thinking, well, can I do this or not? And what's all this storyline bullshit? All of that kind of crap, really, it annoys me. And that's before we even get into the microtransactions. One of those bike games, Ride 3, I think it's Ride 3 that I've got. Literally, you cannot complete the game unless you spend real money buying certain bikes. If you don't have bike Z, you can't complete drag race Y or whatever, and the only way to get it is to spend real money, and that is just wrong, and it's creeping into a lot of games, and I hate it. So I'm less and less inclined to buy modern games. VR is taking over in what I want to play. I don't have a PS5. I don't expect I'll be getting one anytime soon. Even if I could find one, and I could afford one, but I can't find one, and I'm not paying bloody 700 quid
For, you know, they've got like a row of about 4 of them in CEX or wherever, and they're like £699. I'm like, absolutely not. So, but even if I could get one at a sensible price, there's nothing on it I want. You know, Gran Turismo will be out, but that's going to be out on the 4 as well, and I've got the 4 Pro. Personally, I think that will be just fine, thank you very much. If I even bother, because honestly I didn't. Gran Turismo Sport was so disappointing. I mean, it was fun and it was pretty, but it didn't hit the spot for me. I've always been one to limit, well, not, I can't say I've limited how many games I've bought, because I've got thousands and more than I could possibly play. But games that I actually spend significant time on over a given generation have been limited. I'll buy a shit ton of games for any console that I've got while it's the current generation, but I only spend a lot of time on a few of those because a lot of them turn out to be not what I want. The idea sounds good, but the execution just isn't to my liking. Spider-Man is a really good example of that. Visually beautiful, the physics of it, the web slinging across the city and all of that, fantastic. The storyline is okay. The puzzle elements and stuff, I could do without them, but you know, they're not game breaking. But quick time events, that's it. As soon as they threw quick time events in there, I was like, that's it. I completed the game and I never played it again, and I never will, apart from to just like twat about. I'll never play the storyline again. And there's a lot of modern games like that. Even the Battlefield games have not satisfied in the way that Battlefields 3 and 4 did. Love those two. But Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, no, they're not doing it for me. They kind of, elements of them just don't make sense. Was it 1 or is it 5? Where basically you can have all the guns. You don't have to grind to get them. And all the bonus stuff that you get for playing through the game is just like skins for your guns. Well, so bloody what? My gun looks fancy, yay. It doesn't kill anyone more effectively, so I don't care. And there's a lot of that. Modern gaming, to my mind, has lost its way. A lot of it. And I mean, what's with all the remakes? And I mean, the Rockstar remakes of Grand Theft Autos 3, 3, Vice City and San Andreas have been a disaster, and so utterly lazy. They're not even remakes of the PS2 originals, they're remakes of the Android versions. Like, what the hell, those were shite. I've got them on just about every Android device I own, and then they're just, they're not right. And I mean, the sad thing is, I've got a PS4 remake of, well, all 3 of those games, but they're emulated versions of the PS2 games, and the emulation is bad. There's weird graphical ghosting. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but it ruins it. Yeah, it's like remake after remake after remake of old games. They're really or doing like a special edition of Skyrim. I mean, it's funny. The game, there are 2 games that have captivated me and held my attention for the past decade, and I keep going back to, and they're Grand Theft Auto 5. And I've got that on PS3, PS4 and PC. They're re-releasing on the PS5, for God's sake. And also Skyrim. I got that on PS3, PS4, PC. I've got it on the VR versions for PSVR, and just got it on PC VR, playing it using my Quest via Airlink. That is the best version of Skyrim to my mind. I'm not going to buy the anniversary edition. I had thought I would, but I'm not. I'm going to stick with the Skyrim VR on PC/Quest. Working my way through it now. Absolutely, the PSVR version gave me bad motion sickness, and I didn't really like the controls. The PlayStation Move controllers, I thought at the time, were quite cool, but after playing with Quest controllers, the Move controllers are just they're shite. They're rubbish. They're a pitiful excuse. And in fact, after using the Quest, I think the PSVR is really quite shite. I've got some games on it that I like, freebies, that I haven't played, and I keep thinking I need to play those. But PSVR is so crap after Quest, and I mean Quest users are looked down upon by all the other proper VR users like HTC Vive and Valve Index users. They're like, Questies. It's like the way proper ISP users looked down on AOL users back in the noughties. I was guilty of that. AOL users, shy, get out of my chat room. Yeah. Totally lost track now. I plan to continue gaming for as long as I physically and mentally can. I'm losing interest in conventional console gaming because of VR, but it's got to be good VR, or at least better than PSVR. I'd done the whole Android phone in a headset thing, and that was an interesting taster just to get the idea of how the 3D immersiveness works, but as an example of actual proper VR, it's rubbish. So then I got PSVR and was initially blown away, and then eventually found it a pain in the arse. Because when I was using that, I was living at Joe's, and conversation was part of daily life while living there, and you can't do that while you're in VR. And then even after I've moved here, it's such a pain because the cable, the wire, and also doing, I don't know, having to move around with that, it was a pain to take on and off. With the Quest, you just double tap the side and you can see through the cameras, and that's really, it's just better at everything. So I kind of drifted away. I was thinking PSVR was how VR is, and it was not for me, I thought. And then I got the Quest because I wanted to do VR-based chat with a friend, and then got into VR chat, literally the VR chat app. And that was it. I was like, this is bloody amazing. This is what I want. Spent a shit ton of money on a PC to be able to do air-linked PC VR instead of native Quest VR, and it is worth the money. Being into doing all of that, VR chat, Skyrim. Not sure what I've got. Elite Dangerous in VR, and I think I need to start that game again from the start and reteach myself how to play it. And some other stuff. I want to get Half-Life Alyx. That looks like being a good one. So it's going to be a case, I think, of I will spend lots of time on a very limited number of video games, and that's how I see myself going gaming-wise into old age. There will be some things that I will stick at. I'll probably still be playing Skyrim at 70. I hope. It all depends on the technology. I mean, this metaverse business, I don't know how far will that go. It could well be that we will just be able to game where we are at any given time. You know, we'll be living our life in augmented reality headsets, which will be minimalist and possibly just, you know, a chunky pair of glasses. And I don't know, we've got 5 minutes while we're sitting at the bus stop. We can just pop a game in front of our faces and play. And that, gimme, I will make full use of that. I mean, technology, I've always loved technology. I like old technology, I like new technology. I want the best technology that I consider to be affordable at the time, which doesn't mean the absolute bleeding edge, but as soon as something becomes mainstream, or just a little bit before it goes mainstream, I want it, and I don't expect that to change. So that's probably where I will be gaming, how I will be gaming. Not necessarily on consoles, but by then consoles might not be a thing. The industry is constantly pushing to just stream games to us and provide games as a service, which I hate, but I can see me doing that in the same way that I would rather have DVDs and Blu-rays, but hell, I love Netflix and all of that. And I very rarely buy discs anymore. I just watch stuff on the streaming services because, yeah, you don't own it, but it's convenient. And at the end of the day, I've got a ton of DVDs and they take up space. And space, kinda, the more you've got, the more space matters. Until you start thinking, I've got too much stuff. Yeah. Okay, rambling like mad. Going off at various tangents. That's got me thinking of other things that I could talk about, but I wind up going on all bloody day. Okay, yeah, so what was the question? Yeah, games get too involved and you wind up playing the older stuff. Playing the older stuff, I mean, okay, Skyrim and Grand Theft Auto 5 are old. Well, they're a decade, but I mean, that's not really retro yet. The game I keep coming back to, I mean, if I'm playing handhelds, which is when I do most of my retro gaming, if I'm not just making a video, I keep going straight back to Virtua Racing Deluxe, emulated 32X. If I've got me RG351V and I'm at work on my lunch break, I'll get that out and I'll play Virtua Racing Deluxe, and if I've got more time, I will play Shenmue. Though that one's more, I'll play that if there are people watching. That's kind of the look what this can do game on the RG351V, and people are like, well, that's good graphics for a Game Boy. And I'm like, where can I get one of those? You can't. China. And then I say, no, Amazon. What was I saying? Yeah, so that's what I do if I'm playing handhelds. But if I'm at home and I want to play a quick, not get too involved, not try and remember where the hell I left off, but slightly involved hour-long blast, I always go back to Res. If I want something... it's just a really easy game to pick up and play. It's not over in 5 minutes, but it's not going to take you all day or all week. I played Res from start to finish. In fact, I showed the video of it on my Benway as well, because the audio was all messed up and it didn't record me voiceover or anything. But I got from start to finish of that in about an hour, and that, I think, is perfect. That is a good length of time to be buzzing, and that game makes you buzz without having to compromise your day. You don't have to take a gaming day to play Res, but it's also not an arcade experience, you know. Put your credit in, play, 5 minutes later you're done. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop because waffle. Anyone else who's got any questions they would like answering in a video like this, leave your question in the comments below and begin with for Q&A so I know not to just answer in the comments. And thank you for watching.
It says here Benway offers his thanks to those who subscribe to his Patreon account thing. Is that what he needs?